Hey everyone, welcome back to another Anime Kingdom reviews. You see by the title below, this is on episode 24 of Macross Delta. Yes, this is episode 24. There's only 2 episodes left, and guess what? The build-up has finally ended. There is finally this episode. We finally got some action. We finally got some stuff going on in this one. While I feel that the whole trial part wasn't really needed to be that long, sure, we could have had that part. It was still interesting in some circumstances to learn, about the whole thing with Heinz talking about, Freya's, what her singing, her color kind of was, and what, to what Mikumo's was as well, and then Freya pretty much going and saying his was colorless and all that kind of stuff. And I expected, like, the whole point, like, when they were going up there, I expected Heinz to change something, like maybe say, no, this is not going to happen, I'm not going to let this happen or something, or try something. Like the whole reasoning, he normally isn't always in these kind of courts kind of thing, and he's the one that specifically said he wanted to have this thing happen, this happen, this trial happen, to which pretty much it's not really a trial. There's no jury, there's no nothing, to be honest. There's no way for them to defend themselves in the end. It's just pretty much Heinz asking some questions before the execution call goes out. And that's kind of why I feel that it wasn't really needed to be, like, sure, you could have had that part in just to, I guess, show the kind of interest that Heinz had in them and everything, and the couple questions he had, and the whole color part of their singing. But I feel like the length that they had the trial part wasn't really necessary to have it that long, and they could have added a little bit more things in the rest of the episode. Now, the rest of the episode, honestly, I definitely did enjoy a lot more, especially considering, like I said before, we've just had build-up after build-up after build-up. Finally, we have reached the climax. It may have not been like a super crazy shot. Well, I mean, it was pretty crazy towards the end, but it wasn't like explosive crazy kind of stuff. What I was thinking of after so much build-up kind of thing. I think it's just I'm feeling this way just because the amount of build-up that went before this, that I expected it to be a little bit bigger. Sure, what happened was pretty damn crazy. We have Makina getting shot. Did not expect that. We have Freya having her, it seems that she's aging progressively faster. That's why she has that white scale thing that all the Windermen have when they get older. Reasonings behind that, I'm not too sure. It seemed maybe she's overdoing it for herself. When she was singing, all of a sudden that's when it appeared, and she didn't even notice it at first. Actually, when you see her later on in the ship, she looks at it and is like, oh, what the heck? So I'm not too sure how that's going on. Obviously, the other big thing is Mikumo is the star singer. We have, Roy pretty much saying that Mayan's thing over and over again to force her to sing, and she ends up singing that song, to which of course it ends up affecting pretty much everyone, especially Freya. She just goes down. Like, it's obviously affecting her a lot. I'm not too sure the specifics on why, but it seemed to affect her more than everyone else. You saw, it affected Hayate and Keith as well, but it didn't really affect everyone, as much as it did Freya. So that should be an interesting thing that may come of later on. But that was pretty much what happened in the latter half of the episode. Pretty much they're about to go jump off. We got a kind of like showing to what happened in episode 2 with Hayate jumping off. I literally thought he was going to jump off and somehow fly back, and he had some crazy type of plan or something was below, to which of course it was something below, but that happens a little bit later. Obviously we have Epsilon Foundation guy Berger, whatever his name is. He's planning something. Honestly, he's still on my he's gonna do something bad, or maybe it is that he's just doing all this for money. He's pretty much leads the rest of them to find Hayate's father's ship, to which they end up using it to help escape and everything. I was expecting, honestly, Hayate to use his father's plane because I thought it would have been pretty cool to see that, but they end up just crashing it down later on and leaving that so Arad can get his own ship. And then of course the action happens. They start singing a new song, or is that a new song? I've never heard that song before, so it was interesting to hear that one. Like I said before, Makina gets shot because this time they can't really defend against everything that's going on. Obviously, Delta is trying to defend against the rest of the planes, the aerial knights and everything. But we got some flying squirrel kind of guys coming down. Of course, they get just whacked by those drone things. And then, of course, there's snipers, which is aiming at Freya. Machina jumps in the way, gets shot, still says they have to keep singing, and it gets pretty damn emotional there where all of them are crying. They're all continue to sing for, obviously this is for the mission. Huge, the thing opens up, everyone's able to come, Chuck is back with the rest of the group, and everything looks like it's going to be good for, their side, right? You think like, yeah, they're going to defeat them now, right? Nope, because we got Mikomo singing, to which it affects everyone, and all of a sudden, a full retreat goes into action. So we got like how many episodes of them getting onto the planet and orchestrating this plan just for them to retreat in the end. Yeah, that kind of sucks, to be honest, but obviously they need a retreat because of Mikomo's, the star singer singing thing going on right now. It's kind of confusing me on like what Royd's plan is. He's not doing this for his own kind. He's doing it for a completely different reason, to which I still don't really know what it really is. I'm wondering what's going to happen with Keith and Hines and everyone. What are they going to do to confront, Royd on what he's doing? This huge thing comes out of the sky because of Mikomo's singing, and I'm wondering what the heck is that? What's going on? What is the Star Singer's power going to do? What her singing going to do? Obviously, we learned a little bit about Lady M as well, that Lady M probably stole something from the Winterman planet, from that sanctuary, and pretty much that's how she was able to create Mikomo. So that was pretty interesting to learn as well. Will they, end up showing Lady M later on in the future? Who the hell knows at this point? Honestly, finally things have progressed though, and I'm happy and excited to see the next 2 episodes. I'm predicting it to be pretty damn hectic, pretty damn crazy. Obviously, we have Mikomo being taken away. She's a star singer, starts singing. What's going to happen with Keith Hines them? What's Epsilon Foundation have planned? What's going to happen with Freya now that she's aging fast? What will happen of the love triangle? Will it end up being, just because Freya's death flag goes out and she ends up dying or something like that, and then he, Hayate ends up with Mirage in the end? Or will it, like, this death flag, this thing going on, they'll somehow be able to stop it, maybe with his, fold quartz that he has around his neck as well. Some connection between them that they'll be able to use together to beat, Royd and Mikomo's singing kind of thing, and somehow be able to save everything. Who knows? Honestly, I'm really excited to see now that the story has finally moved forward. We're past the build-up stage. These last 2 episodes should be exciting, should be interesting. Maybe some new songs, maybe some, I don't know, crazy dog fights. Because sure, we had some fights in this one, but not anything too spectacularly crazy. But still, action is action. It's been a while since I've had action, so it was definitely enjoyable, at least for that point. But overall, that's really all I gotta say. Overall, the episode, in my opinion, like I said before, the beginning part, not really needed, to be honest. You can't have the trial part, but I feel like it didn't need to be as long as it did. Then, of course, we got into the crazy part. I love the whole, them about to jump over part, kind of seeing the connections that Keith is having with, sorry, completely just like Hayate. I like completely had a brain fart right there. But they're, them talking, the Messer bomb being dropped as well. And just, of course, right when everything looks like it's going to be going to crap, Hayate is about to jump. Guess what? Saves the day. Arad comes. They jump off. They get onto the planes. Huge fight. Machina gets shot. Mikomo starts singing. Freya's on the verge of aging progressively fast if she overuses her powers, by the looks of it. Either that or it's because of the effects of Mikomo singing. I think it's a little bit of both. She got that thing before Mikomo started singing, so it definitely has to do with maybe her trying, using her power, overdoing it, just like we saw before with previous people already. So that's also a possibility, but it did weaken her with Mikomo, so that's a big thing as well. But yeah, it's really all I gotta say, guys. So hope you enjoyed this Anime Kingdom review. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below. If there's anything I missed and you want to talk about, comment below as well. And if you did enjoy, don't forget to like. And if you haven't already, feel free to subscribe for more content. It really does help the channel. And as always, guys, I always want to hear your thoughts. How do you guys feel about all of this now that the build-up is finally over? How did you feel about this episode? How do you feel about this episode? And then, of course, you know, what's to come because of this episode with the whole Mikomo thing, the Freya thing, all that kind of stuff finally coming into, you know, connecting into place for these final 2 episodes. There's also still a thing about not really knowing about fully everything behind Hayate's father, the whole MP3 thing. So we may have a connection between Freya and Hayate in the episode that would progress to the potential of something happening in the love triangle. So that's another thing I almost forgot to mention that should be exciting to see. I'm honestly just happy to see how everything is going to conclude here. What are they going to do? What is Mikomo going to do? How are they going to save her, or will they save her? What's going to happen with this love triangle? Will he end up with Freya? Will he end up with Mirage? That's to, of course, you know, we still don't know yet. It could be anything at this moment, but it is looking like it's going to go towards Mirage with the death flag that is looming over Freya's head at the moment. And then, of course, you know, all the other questions that we have had. I was kind of, you know, in my last review, I was kind of scared. I was like, there's only 3 episodes left. We have so much questions, but honestly, everything is going in a pace that, sure, it may be fast-paced, but I am getting the gist of everything. We're learning. All of our questions are slowly getting answered, and slowly everything is progressing to what's going to end. So I'm guessing that there will be no second season. Sure, like you guys said, there is a possibility of there being a movie, which I would love to see, so they could, you know, do it. Like, honestly, I still love Macross Delta so far, but the second half, the second core of this so far has definitely been slower paced. And with a movie, like you guys said, they don't need to change, you know, they don't need introductions of characters, they don't need to do this, they change things up, and it could be honestly a lot better than what it is now for the season. But yeah, that's all I really gotta say, guys. Definitely excited to see those 2 next episodes. So yeah, till next time, guys, hope you guys enjoyed. See ya.